the shot. Never mind your liver, get to Gino Spot.
Gino Spot.
Get to Gino Spot.
Gino Spot.
Have a laugh, have a giggle, and exercise your middle. Have a Gino shot.
Gino shot.
Get to Gino Spot.
Gino Spot.
Get to Gino Spot.
Gino Spot.
Have a laugh, have a giggle, and exercise your middle. Get to Gino Spot.
Gino Spot.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Gino Spot. And of course, the end of the year, 28th December. Christmas is done and we've got the New Year's party to wait for. We hope we're going to have a good time and we got family together. We hope we've got some family together. We are doing the Gino Spotlight 2021. We have done, over the last year of 2021, we have done 52 weeks times two shows a week, Tuesday and Saturday, relentlessly every single week. And that means 104 shows in the year. 104 shows, and we are going to look Gino Spotlight 2021. We're going to go morsels and moments and silver linings from the shows that we've done. I've enjoyed every single one. There's without exception, all of them have been fantastic shows. Getting to know people, having to have these longer interviews. They are longer interviews indeed, but they get to know the people in a deeper way, and it's been such an amazing experience for myself. Having a benchmark or a stick in the ground for each of these guests that have come on in the Eastern Cape. They are all celebrities within their own fields, ambassadors and people that are encouraging others to do well. And that's what we want with Gino Spot. Thank you to our sponsors, of course, Fitch and Leeds. Fitch and Leeds and Spa have been absolutely phenomenal throughout the 2-year period, over 200 shows. Hasn't it been absolutely amazing that these guys jumped on, and in the beginning, when we started, we didn't know where we were going, but it was okay because we eventually worked out our way, found our way in the dark, indeed. So we're getting to know these people over the years. We're going to pick up some tasty morsels from all the shows that we've done. We've picked out about 30 or I think 36 shows we found that we're going to find little morsels. 12 shows, 12 people per show, and so for the next 3 shows we're going to be doing what we call the Gino Spotlight 2021. Our first guest, we got in larger than life ex-mayor and politician Athol Trollip, who's been outspoken in the past, and it truly was outspoken during the interview. What I loved about him was his amazing sense of humor, and of course his Eastern Cape Albany roots.
You know, Gino, a lot of people describe me as arrogant and as abrasive and a whole lot of those kind of adjectives. And maybe I am at times, but I think what people don't understand about me is I'm very forthright. I really uphold honesty. I think it's the best value. Tell people where you stand. Let people know what you think. And they might not always like it, but at the end of the day, they'll respect you for your position. So I apologize to some of the people that I might have offended because I'm too abrasive, but I'd rather them know where I stand and that I am not two-faced. My ex-wife, she's still the mother of my children, and we're very civil to each other and we get on reasonably well. She once said to me, I'd rather work for you than be married to you, which has probably been one of my failings, because I expect my family and my friends to get on with it. To understand the plan and to just get on with it. Whereas with my staff and people I work for, I'm prepared to do anything for them. So that's maybe something that people don't understand.
That's no good, Athol. Your mother wouldn't be very happy with that.
My mother loves me. My mother loves me. I love her.
Okay. Have you ever got really, really angry?
Goodness, on a daily basis. On a daily basis.
Oh, really?
There are things that make my friends all know what I'm talking about now. I've got a thing that I refer to as a moermeter. And my moermeter skiet vinnig in die rooi in, which means my blood pressure goes to boiling point very quickly. And fortunately, it comes back down very quickly.
Yes.
So I don't stay cross for a long time. things that really upset me, or when people are unreasonable or treat people unfairly, that makes my blood boil. And I get over it. And, if even colleagues irritate me, I give them that look. And it's a vicious look, but I get over myself. There's one of my schoolmates says, I'm scared of frogs. I am scared of frogs.
You don't like frogs?
It's about the only thing I'm scared of, frogs and my wife. I remember I was a young provincial leader of the Democratic Alliance way back, probably 20 years ago, and I'm 18 years ago. And Tony Leon was the leader of the party.
Yes.
And he was flying. Okay. He was flying to Port Elizabeth, and I was going to take him to Queenstown, and we're going to have a big, massive public meeting there. And I'd been working that area and to make sure that we had a very successful public meeting. And we drove all the way to Queenstown, like a 3.5 hour drive.
Yeah.
And when we got there, we had one person attend the meeting. One person. And I learned a couple of things. First of all, the way he handled it was amazing.
Yeah.
And secondly, I learned that it wasn't the end of the world. So,
Yes.
I've had some low ones, but that was a memorable low.
That was memorable. That's even bad for a comedian, man.
Yeah, that's really.
One of my favorite moments of watching you in Parliament was, I think it was the 2017 debate, and you unleashed what Gino was talking about, the most phenomenal stream of colloquial Xhosa at the ANC. And they were absolutely delighted with you. They screamed, they yelled, they clapped, they cheered, even if they disagreed with you. The elation in the room because you got up and you were so eloquent. And what was great is that, you come across as quite an Eastern Cape man, and you're quite strong and you're quite dominating and you have strong opinions, and that's the way, and that's your conviction. But you turned into this awesome man. Your whole body language changed. And it was just fantastic. And I remember the ANC screaming and cheering and whispering to you your message. Is there any moment that you have in Parliament or in a public situation like that where you think, hell, that was a great moment for me?
Well, look, speaking Xhosa in Parliament, pros and cons. Some people liked it, some people didn't like it, some people fenced to it. They thought that I was exploiting the fact that I could speak in another language, because parliamentary debate is not just about outshouting the opposition. It's about the riposte and the cut and thrust of repartee and winning debate. I remember when I left Parliament, Manga Mandela, Nelson Mandela's grandson, he really roasted me, and he'd done some research on my family as a settler family, and he accused my family of spilling the blood of his family. And I mean, instead of in Parliament, the convention was, if a leader left, there's a convention that you are genteel and that you wish them well. And anyway, he was the last to speak, so nobody else could respond after him, and he roasted me properly. And I see Miss Fabry is saying, when are you going to roast me? So you better up your game.
That's my wife. I'll give her a scolding.
He roasted me, and I felt so furious because I thought, it's so cowardly. He's attacked me and I can't respond, and it's so wrong and all the rest. But, the wheel of fortune is an amazing thing. It turns. And 2 years later, I came back to Parliament, sent by my province to speak in a joint parliamentary sitting. And as I got up to speak at the podium, Manga Mandela got up and on a point of order. And I turned around to him and said, you again, the last time, since I was last year in Parliament, you've been convicted and converted. Because he was convicted for an assault case in Mthatha, and he was converted when he married a Muslim woman. And he just sat down. He didn't know how to respond to that. And it was just one of those amazing things that came to me. I had a quick riposte that shut him up. He basically blushed and sat down, and that was the end of that debate. There's that wonderful show, the Boet and Swaer show, where
Yes.
the lower Albany farmers talk about how dry it is, and the one farmer says, "Hey, Boet, it's been so dry, young, I could fax my sheep to the stock fair. This rain has been so amazing. I've had to harvest my pineapples with a prawn pump, Boet." So
In January this year, we spoke to Kevin Kelly, who's done some incredible projects, cleanups internationally as well. And we chatted about the Costa Concordia. And so, I mean, the Costa Concordia was a hell of a project, and I know that it was almost a bit of a luck that you got involved in.
Yeah, Costa Concordia was. I mean, we were busy with the salvage at Khusta.
Which one was that? Was that
the Junta sank on the 1st of January 2012. Yeah, it was a dredger that was busy doing some dredge work at Khusta Harbour. Yeah.
Okay, so dredger sank.
It's got 4 legs that stand up.
Okay.
That actually hold the dredger up,
Yeah.
and then it digs. You know.
Okay.
And one of the legs on a cable snapped.
Oh, okay.
So the thing tilted, and instead of the operator of the excavator putting the bucket down on the ground,
Yeah.
on the seabed, and pushing up and holding it,
Yeah.
he lifted the bucket up
Oh.
and put it onto a hopper barge, which is a barge that you load in and it goes out to sea and it opens up.
Okay.
And anyway, this thing half sank. And then the 12th of January of 2012, the Costa Concordia incident happened.
Okay.
Luckily, Captain Nick's line was the SCR, Special Casualty Representative of the Junta sinking here.
Okay.
And we'd already designed some type of boom.
Okay.
And when the boom was there, he saw the boom that I put down around the Junta.
Yeah.
But anyway, after a whole lot of months, he managed to get the...
There's a boom, huh?
Yeah, that's the Costa Concordia.
That's the Costa as well.
Yeah, that's the Costa, yeah.
Gee whiz.
So, after many months, I went to Italy.
Yeah.
With a photograph and a piece of paper, or a piece of paper, a drawing on it, and a piece of material of that.
Oh,
orange,
that material, that orange stuff.
material,
Okay.
in a folder,
Yeah.
like a box folder. You know, I got to Italy. I met with the big boys of
Costa.
the insurance company.
the Lloyds, was it Lloyds?
I think it's Lloyds and London Offshore, LOC and that.
Lloyds of London.
So yeah. So anyway, I met with these guys and they said to me, "So, what is the difference between your boom and the boom that we can get in Europe or in Norway or anywhere around the world?" And I had a photo of a boom that was out the water because it was an inflatable boom.
Okay.
Which they filled with air.
All right.
So when you put something on a flat surface with air in it, and you blow a massive amount of wind, it's going to lift up like a
lifts
cup.
up.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I said to them, "I'll make you a boom that won't come out the water. And if it does come out the water, you'll have to pay me." So anyway, I had my Nord doing this for a while.
I'm sure.
But after about 20 minutes, half an hour, I managed to get quite a massive order from them.
Wow.
Flew back to PE.
Yeah, a couple of kilometers.
Yeah, it was 2 kilometers. The first, the
2 kilometers of boom.
the first order. So I got back to PE. I met with one of the guys that I know to make the boom, that was making our booms. And I said, we only got 21 days, because after 21 days it must be on the ship. It's going to take 30 days to get to Italy, and they're going to start the parbuckling process then, which is the writing of it.
Writing of the ship, okay.
So it has to be there. And then they delayed the parbuckling process, but they said they want the booms in place, as you saw in that photograph.
Yes.
For visitors, so they can't swim other side the boom. And
Okay.
so it became more barrier than a...
Okay, which is good for your one, because yours stand quite a lot.
Yeah, so it stands quite high, yeah.
I was going to see that photo if I can again, but we'll try and get it. So we're going to... And I saw you were standing next to it as well. It's what's about 1.8?
Yeah, it's almost 1.8, yeah. So it's,
there we go. That's so 1.8 meters sticks above the water. And
no, it's 700 sticks above the water,
okay.
and the rest is below the water.
Okay, so 700.
No, we don't want oil to go in underneath.
Yes.
Through it,
so deeper.
Yeah. So with the boom, if the wind hits it now, that fence boom, what'll happen is it'll just go flat.
Okay.
It lies flat.
Just lies flat.
So
that was an innovative design.
Yeah. So we got another 4 kilometers after that. Yeah.
Gee,
and I got paid.
Yo.
So it was a nice project to take on. It taught us a lot, gave us a lot of insight, gave us a lot of world-class or world recognition.
Yes, kudos.
And
there we go. There's your booms and
there's the boom. Yeah. So and there, that's around the entrance as well. So
okay.
And there's the fence boom going across, so that nobody would swim there.
Yeah. Gee whiz! I mean that thing really sank. Holy moly!
Yeah, so
how did they write that thing? Do they pump the water out?
No, it's called a par buckling system. So they put a platform at the bottom.
Okay.
On this photo, they don't have the sides up yet, the jackups, and then they put sponsons on it.
Sponsons.
Yeah, that's the jinta. That was the rig. There's the. You see those big metal steel things on the
columns,
side?
Yeah.
On the side and on the other side,
Yes.
you'll see them as well. It's like big water wings.
Okay.
Okay.
All
So they fill them with air and then
I
it'll
see.
float it. So that's
Wow.
how it was.
So that's how they got the gin
No, that was before they put the sponsons on the one side of the vessel.
What is that? Is that the Costa?
That's a Costa, yeah.
That's the Costa.
Yeah, that's the Costa, yeah.
And all those ropes coming
See,
down.
there's
the side.
all our booms around the Costa.
Wow.
And then along the coast.
Coast as well.
And the back, it was mainly to prevent people as more so the floating like blankets and because the oil was already removed, so it was any debris that came out
Yes.
that had to be contained and not go further into the sea.
Elections was this year, 2021 elections, which was very interesting. So we had quite a few politicians on board this in the last couple of shows. Mkhuseli Jack, who's a Walmer resident, and formed the newly formed Abantu Integrity Movement. And it's all about integrity with Khusta. We spoke to him about his integrity and also about his fears. And in retrospect, we feel that we've had something to do with the fact that the ANC is now back in power because they formed a coalition. So the proof's in the pudding with this one. Let's see how Khusta spoke to us earlier.
When I was young, I used to hunt and look for snakes. Because I had nothing. There was no TV, there was no radio, there was no newspaper, there was no magazine, nothing at all.
Yeah.
So on a day like today, windy, nothing and so on, I have nothing to do. I pick up a bag, habersack or whatever, those mealie bags, and I get into the forest or in the bushes where I can look for snakes. Big ones, not small ones.
Yeah.
When I was young.
Is
And
it
then I'll take them.
puffies?
Yes, puffer them, and put them in the bag. And you know, I'll pick, maybe I'll be happy to pick about 4 of them or 5, and then I'll go somewhere else and just go and drop them in another place. It was just or go and look for honey.
Yeah,
Okay?
bees?
Yes, we get a bird. We call it intagubusi.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's the same thing. When you say honey bird, I don't think
Okay,
it's
I
the
don't-
same.
okay, no,
To
no.
us, intagubusi, you see, it's a bird that will cry there.
A bee
You follow
eater.
it. I don't know.
Maybe.
You just follow it,
Yeah,
and then it is said it directs you to this. I'm not sure how true that is,
Ah.
but I've been in a forest. You look for it forever. You don't know.
So you were keen on doing
And
that.
then I do that also, where I grew up. So,
So
but
nothing scares
today,
you.
today, I'm scared of snakes. I'm scared of spiders. And unfortunately, where we are staying in our house at Cape St. Francis, there are spiders there.
Yeah.
Dangerous one.
Big-
One of them bites Zakumi, my
Is
dog. Yeah.
Yo, spiders.
Zakumi, yeah, Zakumi.
No way. I don't know where you get those.
Sting him,
Yeah,
briefly. About
MIB.
integrity movement. Yeah. Inchukumo yabasha.
Okay.
Yabeli. Yeah.
Okay, and tell us a little bit about that because
You know
that's
what? You see, we put a very, very difficult name to write there and pronounce and read.
Abantu.
No, integrity.
No, that's okay for me.
I know a lot of guys in power, they can't read, write, or pronounce integrity.
You're
So
right.
we are establishing Abantu integrity movement.
Yeah.
You know what? You're gonna dress integrity, you're gonna walk integrity, you're gonna talk integrity. And then let's see whether the true values of this nation of ours, whether they are not going to rise up and come back into the fore and take us to where we were ought to be.
Yeah.
Not in the dustbin where we are. Eh?
But who do you look up to, politics wise at the moment? Is there anybody with integrity out there already? Do you have guys that you respect?
You mean which ones?
We're talking about if it's
You mean
ANC
the
guys,
current professional politicians?
politicians.
No.
No, nobody.
You know what? No, some of them, by the way, I used to respect them big time.
Yeah.
Some of them decided to not to rock the boat,
Yeah.
but to remain nice to their home,
Yeah.
although there is no home anymore.
Yeah.
Others say, oh, well, I'll be there because I want the flag at my funeral. You know what they do? They put the flag,
Drag the flag.
over your coffin.
Yes.
You know, when I left the ANC in 2007,
Yeah.
I said, I would rather you put O Kurante on top of my O Kurante, you hear?
Yeah.
Put them on my box rather than have a flag stained with corruption.
Amongst Gqeberha's most celebrated one of Gqeberha's most celebrated fine art photographers and musician, as well as amazing raconteur and storyteller with connections all over town, Tim Hopwood. So tell me about your early school. I mean, you Catholic upbringing, confirmed, and did you do the whole Catholic thing?
When you're a kid, you know, you just want to have fun. You don't worry too much about that stuff. But I suppose it gets ingrained in you. You get indoctrinated.
Yeah.
Like my friend Fergus Satchell.
Fergus.
You know Fergus, that lawyer.
I know
Very
the name.
eccentric lawyer. He described himself as a recovering Catholic. And it's kind of like what you
Lapsed.
are, you know. Yeah, no, not lapsed. Recovering Catholic.
again. Okay,
You lapsed,
lapsed
but
and
you're
then-
also recovering. You're
Yes.
trying to undo the damage that's been done. You know. All the guilt and
Yes, the flagellation.
The flagellation. You
that's
know
the
the
one.
story.
Yes, I
Yeah. But then you got to stand 5. You had Sister Vianney. You don't understand.
Okay.
To quote Barnhorst, you don't understand.
Okay.
She was ruthless, eh? She just beat us all the time.
Is it
Terrible.
nuns?
Years later, she was a tough, leathery old Irish nun. She'd grab you by your hand and murr you with this big wooden ruler. And your hand would be glowing and the kids would be dancing up and down. You couldn't get your hand away. She was so strong. Yes. And sometimes she'd pull your sideburns.
Oh,
off
those
and
ones.
Punch you.
There were those teachers that knew how to get your sideburns.
Yeah.
They had that right. And this place here in your...
Yes.
This-
They pinch you like
Yeah, this
that.
pinching
Oh.
thing. What the hell? How did they know where to... I still don't know how to do that to somebody. That's hectic.
No,
it's like
only
Dr.
a
Spock.
hardcore masseuse knows that.
Yeah.
You know? So years later, when I was at Rhodes, my folks phoned me up and they say, Timmy, Sister Vianney's stranded in Greyvenstein. She needs a lift back to Port Elizabeth. They knew I was coming for the weekend or the holiday or something. Can you give her a lift? I said, not a chance. Sister Vianney can walk.
Shame.
Not a chance. Yeah, so we didn't play marbles and soccer at break. We just fought. We just clubbed
Yeah.
each other. It was very violent. Lots of fights and then they tried. I was telling the story the other day. They tried to. They thought they'd somehow rescue us from our degeneracy and we're delinquents. We were a school of delinquents, basically. We were all delinquents, all of us. So they read us the Cross and the Switchblade. You know, they talk about the Nicky Cruz, the like drug addict, Puerto Rican gang member in New York who finds the Lord. And
the cross.
Oh, it had a terrible effect. It just backfired because just the whole school just split into 2 groups. You know, there's 2 gangs that are in the book, and the Oaks started bringing knives to school, and it was chaos.
You can't trust.
But it was a lack of school.
Can't
We had
trust
great
the
fun.
central. Because Mark's
There's
camera.
Plumber Rob in the photo. there.
Oh, Plumber Rob in the photo. Indeed,
One
R.I.P.
of my most interesting neighbours.
A neighbour, was he your
Yeah,
neighbour?
he was my neighbour until he died.
Yes, and an odd accident at
he was banned from every bar in Central and then every bar in PE, and he had to go further and further afield to have a drink. I mentioned my mate Mark to meet him to drop off some dacha for him, and he had to meet him, and he was banned from all the bars. He had to meet him in a little Wendy house, a clubhouse at the Mashi golf course. And he got in there, have a beer. And he asked Mark, hey, how's the painting going? Oh, Mark said, yeah, no, blah, 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 it's going well.
Yeah.
He asked Rob, because Rob did part-time sculpture. You know?
Okay,
It was
yes.
actually really good. But he didn't do more of it.
Yes.
And less drinking, he'd still be allowed.
Yes, okay.
So Mark asked him, how's the sculpture going? And this old toppy at the bar said, sculpture? What do you sculpt? He slammed his fist on the counter. I sculpt emotion! Rob was a character.
Oh, excellent. This.
And Mark has this beautiful ability to make funny out of the horror.
Yeah.
You know, because he also I spent 5 or 6 years doing it. I think he spent 3 working for the Sunday Times, seeing a lot of hectic stuff.
Yeah.
And hectic stories, and often the only way to deal with it is just to laugh. And if somewhere in that story you'll find something funny, and you'll laugh because it's the only way to deal with it. You know?
Yeah, just
that's
to
what I love about Mark's stories. They're not just funny; they're also tragic.
Yeah.
But there's this laughter and relief, you know,
Well,
because you can't stay to the bit forever. I was staying with Graham for a few months in Cape Town and Woodstock, and he got observatory. He got home one night. Nice, gave a girl a lift, and she stole his phone and must go look for it now. In Woodstock, but like Gympie Street.
Yes.
Flipping Gympie Street, man. You don't go, it's 1 o'clock at night. No. And I said, no, Graham, you can't do this. Just forget it. It's just a phone. Don't worry about it. Yeah. No, he's going to go find his phone. And I thought, like, he can't go on his own. Something terrible is going to happen. Yes. So I went with him. And we met this guy. A guy appears out of the darkness. Yeah, we know where your phone is. Takes us around the corner. And Graham gives the guy $200, and obviously he's gone. You know. We drive around a little bit more, and another guy appears. No, we know where your phone is. It's around here. Follow us. And they take us to this road, and it's like, it's down there. That green door there. Yeah. And it's like a road and a wall at the end. Yeah. It's a dead end. And there's a row of houses, and there's some industrial stuff on the other side. And there's a door. There's a green door. And Graham's like, no, he's going to
go. Bugger that.
I said, Graham, just go to the end and turn around first so we're facing in the right direction. And I'll get into the car while you go knock on the door. So no sooner had I climbed into the car, these guys, I don't know, 4 or 5 of them, just appear out of the darkness with bricks.
Oh, my son.
And they come running at the car, and they just hurl these bricks through the windscreen. Like 3 or 4 bricks.
Jeez.
And I just see this, and I just duck under the dashboard, and I just floor it.
Yeah.
I remember the tires spinning, and I look up, and there's no windscreen, it's gone. And I'm flying down this road, and there's Graham up here, and he sees all this. He's running to the street, his door's still open. I slow down a little bit, he grabs the door, I drag him for about 50 meters, and he hops in and off we go. Whoa, okay, what just happened there?
What the hell, Tim?
Yeah, and we got home, we were so high from the adrenaline, you know, like we cheated death. What would they have done to us?
From politics and art and music all the way through to surfboard shaping with Dennis Ellis. I love to have a vast variety of stuff to watch on Gino Spot, and Dennis certainly brought that to us during his interview, along with Mervyn Goddard, his vagabond friends. We had a fantastic time talking about surfing and the surf culture in general.
But Dennis doesn't really like beer. He prefers vodka.
Yes, I believe so. Well, I think the time has come. I'm going to move this just a little bit closer here, okay? Is that right? I'm going to move these mics up just a little bit closer so we can hear nicely. And now, this was a trip. You guys have done some trips. Indonesia, Bali. Are these good surf spots?
Great surf spots. That's the surfing mecca, really. When we were kids, everyone said, Hawaii is the mecca. But that's where you go to die for people like us.
Oh, right, okay. Hawaii is big surf, obviously.
Yeah, we decided to go and explore the islands and go and surf these spots in Bali, and it's absolutely fantastic. As a surfer,
you've got to do it once in your life. You honestly
Yes.
have to. You put up with the crowds, put up with the Aussies,
Okay.
the partying, the beers,
Jeez.
everything that goes with it. But you
Yes.
generally don't party too much because it's very hard.
Tired.
You're surfing, you're tired, you sleep and surf.
Yeah.
That's at 8 o'clock. That's it.
Okay. So, yeah. And also the hardtack's expensive. So
Oh, right. Oh,
a
there
couple
you
of beers and you're sleeping.
Okay.
Except for the occasion, there's some special moments when you get into the hardtack and then...
All right. See, well, I heard about the one, and we had a video, but Gary couldn't get the
X-rated.
he couldn't get it was X-rated, and he couldn't get the pixels over the right spot. But I never laughed so much in my life. And John Skippers alluded to it, I think, where there's lots of vodka going around. And I always ask the guys the most embarrassing moment normally, and my guests, and we normally do it towards the end, but I think it's the right spot now because
You can pick it,
tell us the build up, Murph. What was the build up?
Yeah, it was quite funny. I thought the evening was going to be quite an anticlimax. It was New Year's Eve. We were going to a big party at a beach club. On Echo Beach, in Bali, and they had a full lineup of proper artists, guys like Khalid and real good DJs. We had wangled our way into the VIP area with some old friends of mine from East London.
Awesome.
And we had front row seats.
Yeah.
We were like kids in a candy store. We were sitting there looking at this. They had to move the little VIP little tag because we were going to sit there. It was like
fantastic.
It can't be for us. This is great.
Yes.
But the lead up to it is while you're standing there, you can actually see the break in front of you.
Whoa. Okay.
Dennis,
on the beach.
You're literally on the beach. So
Gee,
Dennis's plan was, listen, guys, we're not going to drink tonight because if we don't drink, tomorrow morning when we get up early, we're going to have this all to ourselves.
Old Year's Eve.
So we thought, okay, Old Year's Eve, one sacrifice, why not? Anyhow, the first bottle of vodka arrived and you order them per bottle.
Oh.
Luckily, the celebrity that was with us was ordering.
Oh, right.
And I think it was 2,500 Rand for a bottle of vodka. And,
sip slowly.
And you got 6 Red Bulls with it. Anyhow, they had some of their kids with them, but they were grown-up kids in their 20s. These guys proceeded to pour the stuff all over the show, drop it, spill it, and then the dad would order another bottle.
Right.
So we took it pretty easy for the first little while, and it must have got to about 11 o'clock or something. And I just looked up across, it wasn't a dance floor, it was a sand dance floor.
All right.
And all the girls and that were all in their bikinis dancing, and they had these...
Shapely girls.
And they were all over dancing.
Oh, you got it. Oh, my.
It's sideways. Well, that's how
There you go. We didn't show. That was just a glimpse of there because the pants were coming down, Dennis.
Yeah, the pants
Close your eyes, kids.
But all I remember is looking up and I was thinking, I'm still riding on the handbrake here because we don't want to drink too much because that surf session in the morning. And I just saw Dennis with a 2,500 bottle of vodka down his throat on the dance floor. He took the whole bottle. We don't know where he got it.
That wasn't going to end well.
But it didn't end well.
So that
And
ended
then,
up there.
we carried him out of there, well, kind of.
Yeah.
until his
Well, that was the
pants
video
fell
there of him coming out. But the look on your face, Dennis, it was just like... It was like just
smiling.
happiness.
I think it was also non-compass mentis.
Non-compass mentis happiness. And your pants are falling down, but you didn't seem to care.
The weight I lost from the surfing and the heat.
Yes, of course.
The pants are too big, so they kept slipping down. I couldn't get to them because I was being carried.
Carried,
I knew they were slipping down. I just couldn't get there. I wasn't too bothered.
One of my favourites was Stuart Forrest. Stewie has been a friend of mine since school days, since we were at nursery school, for goodness sakes, and proudly PE, of course. Stuart Forrest started Triggerfish, which has gone on to become one of the top companies in South Africa and in the world now for animation. And what an interesting road he's travelled. And the voice actors that you got, I mean, we've got some big names on these movies that you've done as well. What's the process in getting these guys?
It's a bit of a kind of horse trading thing. You know, with Samuel Jackson, we there was a guy that worked in our sales agent's building who produced Invictus, and he was friends with Samuel Jackson. So our sales agent kind of stopped him in the passage one day and said, "Hey, aren't you the guy that produced all these Clint Eastwood movies?" And he's just a lot of Harrison Ford movies, almost all of them he produced. And he said, we're really looking for Samuel Jackson. Do you think you could get him? And then we paid him a fee to get Samuel Jackson on the phone, and then we managed to get him. And then once you've got one, then it was very easy to go to Jeff Goldblum and say, "Oh, we've got Samuel Jackson," and Jeff was like, "Oh, whatever." And,
that's all right, yeah.
And then we had Leonard Nimoy and
Mr. Spock.
Yeah, Mr. Spock. It was just his last show, I think, or his last his last things he did. And I thought he was going to die in the flipping recording. Really? Honestly, he's Anyway, I'll be.
He was ill.
He was not well, but he was amazing and really great. Jeff Goldblum was on drugs. He wasn't. He gave us a great performance, but wow. Liam Neeson was grumpy. But we've had some wonderful actors. No, it was incredible. We were in Los Angeles for the Oscar nomination for Revolting Rhymes, and the studios, because it's usually hard to get a meeting with Disney and Universal and Warner's. And but they took we got meetings with all the people we wanted, and they all said, "Oh, you're from Africa. Have you got any African stories?" And we were like, "Actually, that's what we've been doing for the last 10 years." And so we had a whole bunch of stuff that we'd been developing. And at the time that we started developing, especially Mama K's, which is set in Lusaka, Zambia, very hard sell 5 years ago. It was really an outsider. We just thought this is never going to get made. 4 African girls making it's just not. There's just no market for it. But we took it on as a kind of wild card, and it was the first one of the whole bunch that we developed to be picked up by Netflix and became Netflix's first animated series from Africa. And it's been incredible working with the incredible people from around the continent on that.
So they assist you then as well with all these connections, I suppose. Once you've got this a solid Netflix thing. Once
you say Netflix, we're doing a project with Netflix, then that's it. You're done. You don't have to try anymore. You just then demand what you want. So it's incredible, and that's what one of the other things I tell people is choose your partners. We said no to a lot of stuff that we thought, I'm not quite sure about working with this team, or this guy just feels not right. And so we held ourselves kind of available for the right kind of partnerships. And when those partnerships came up, we could notice it. So after Kumba, we had no work after that. We were absolutely exhausted. It was 3.5 years of nonstop panic. And we had a script, but we'd realized by then that we needed to spend a lot more time in script development before we can really compete internationally. And so we went back from 120 people in those days, or 110, down to 4, and we just kind of sat in this massive facility with all these computers, and we just didn't know what we were going to do, because it was still going to be a year before these movies are released. But fortunately, I had been chasing up the Michael Rose, who was the producer of A Close Shave, which was the movie that got me into animation. And he'd then gone on to do Chicken Run and The Curse of the Were-Rabbit, movies that I really loved. And then he left Aardman and started his own company. And so, back in 2006, I'd contacted him and said, we're making some movies, we'd love to have your notes, have you involved if it's possible. And he said, I'm too busy now, and I'll give you some notes. But we built a relationship, and it took 8 years before that relationship bore any fruit. And when he came to us and said, I've got this project for BBC Christmas, we're looking to do some of it potentially at Triggerfish. He'd seen Kumba at a festival, and he thought maybe we could pull off part of the project. And he said to him, actually, we want to bid on the whole project. And so we did that, and then we did Stickman, which really just blew up for us. It won the best animation in the world at the Annecy Festival, which is the biggest festival, and it just went on.
Was that the BAFTA as well?
Well, I think it won the BAFTA.
Yeah, I think it won the BAFTA as well. Yeah, that one.
I think it did.
It was on BBC, wasn't it? That was on BBC.
Yeah, and that led to Revolting Rhymes, which was Oscar nominated and also I think won an Emmy as well. And then we went on after that. We did Highway Rat, which was another Christmas special, and then we did Zog, and then we did Snail and the Whale, which is the one that's just been selected for the Oscar shortlist now. So
isn't that amazing, Stewie?
Yeah,
I mean that blows your mind if you think about
It is really amazing, and those are that's the stuff we've done. We've got so much in development now with major studios that we will be announcing. We're going to announce something at the end of this month. That's very exciting. We have another project that will be announced in the next couple of months. That is the biggest animation investment into Africa of all time by far, and there's a couple more TV series that we're producing as well. So it's really blowing up, and we're just very grateful.
It's amazing. Rounding off February 2021, we stepped into the glitzy world of breakfast radio DJ and acclaimed national actress, Liezl. She opened her personal diary up to us. She's an actress, she's a cook, she does radio, she directs, she writes, she does so much. So we're going to find out all about her. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome onto the stage, Liezl. Lovely to have you.
Salam, Gino,
salam alaikum.
I'm so disappointed that you've taken off your Roman Catholic garb.
I've only got half of it on. I've still got the smock.
Oh, great. Because I was hoping, let me start by saying, do you know what an aunt is called in the Muslim community? An aunt.
No, I don't know what an aunt. I know it's haram. Something's haram and not haram. Yeah, okay, no, that's the case. But
an aunt that's food. Is called a titi. So I thought we could start a new party theme, nuns and titties.
Oh, yes. Oh, I quite like the sound of that.
Well, you left me hanging here.
You left the titi hanging. Oh no! Oh Lee! Now I noticed that you've got your duk on today, and I believe there's a story behind this duk. Tell me about that.
There is a reason, a valid one, Gino.
Yes, a reason.
So on AlgoaFM Breakfast, we have a little thing from time to time where we ask listeners to guess what is under Duru's duk. And it usually happens on days when I'm having a really bad hair day and I come to work with a duk on my head because, I mean, at 4:30, ain't nobody got time for GHD.
Anyone had time for that?
So when I rock up to work with a turban or a duk, the guys decide, okay, it's a what's under Lee's duk day. And,
let's have a look. Yes.
Perhaps it might be a nice little thing.
Yes, to have a reveal.
To have a big reveal, because there is certainly something under Lee's duk.
You know, an exclusive on Gino Spot. Hello, Viv Trebek. Greetings from your titi. She is my aunt, actually. This is my aunt. Oh, she's going to love that. No, you know what you've done now, because from now on, I'm going to have to call Viv my titi. Yeah, the hanging titi. I'm gonna hang with my titi now. Okay, so Lee, we're gonna have a reveal, an exclusive Gino Spot reveal.
First time reveal. Nobody.
Whoa. Should we have a countdown?
Let's do it.
Should we do it? Should I give you a drum roll? How about that? Hang on. No, wait. Gary, give me the drum cam. I'm gonna give you a drum roll.
Awesome.
How about this? Okay. All right, and then you're just gonna have to go for it, and I'll hit the cymbal when the time comes. Okay.
All right.
All right. Oh, you, that's short. Oh.
I got it wrong. I threw the bones today in preparation for this. This
Yes.
interview. And
Yes.
you know, Omam Chilibe, the ancestors kept talking about trim.
Trim. Kufune trim.
It seems they were referring to my waistline, and I thought they were telling me to get a haircut.
My love for coffee had to come into Gino Spot at some time. And I got that chance in the beginning of March with Shaun Aupiais, who showed incredible passion for coffee and taught us a lot about it as well.
I thoroughly enjoy plunger coffee.
Yeah.
So this is
Yes.
100% Brazil Cerrado.
Wow. Okay. So single origin.
Single origin Brazil.
Single origin meaning it's come from one place, one farm.
Well, not necessarily,
Necessarily,
because
the
you
area.
get single origin, you get single estate.
Okay.
So if it's come from one farm, gone through one washing station, then you will get, for example, like Uganda, Mount Elgon, CP Falls.
Okay.
And you know it comes from that region
All right.
and from a specific washing station.
Yes.
Which is based, for example, CP Falls. So with this one, this comes specifically from the Cerrado region,
Okay.
but it's not a single estate.
All
It's
right.
100% Brazil Cerrado region.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's
Yeah.
a region. Very nice.
So if you smell it, the one thing that's very popular about Brazil, it's very nutty. Very
nutty.
Very
Sounds
like
Austin,
you.
Austin
Yeah.
Powers.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. So what you want to do is you're going to slurp it. Like
Slurp
soup
it?
off a spoon.
Like
Soup.
hectically or
Hectic, like viciously.
vicious slurp, people. My God, man. That is hectic. I think I could have done it
No, you
more
could,
than you.
You could have done.
Wow,
that
that's-
wasn't very vicious.
That wasn't vicious
So you
enough.
see, I've got a cast iron palate. So for me, it is a little bit hot still.
Do it again. Jeez. And you've done some at Hello It's Me. I think you've done
Yeah.
some wine and coffee pairings.
Yeah.
Is it the same sort of taste profile? How do they?
So
how
yeah,
do they
without
compare?
a doubt, if you look at a wine flavor wheel versus a coffee flavor wheel, there are so many similar attributes. With wines, you know, when we talk about wines, we talk about cultivars of wines. When we talk about coffee, we talk about varietals.
Okay.
It's pretty much the same thing. It's
Yeah.
about the type of cherry.
Yeah.
And you get all those different flavor balances, complexities, all those flavors. So, for example, I enjoy mostly a white wine along the lines of a Sauvignon Blanc, a Chardonnay, a Chenin Blanc.
Okay.
Those flavor combinations of wines, those varietals of wines pair beautifully with coffee.
Really? Okay.
Because of acidity,
Yeah.
dryness, bitterness.
Okay.
So bringing in the right combinations of coffee works really well. We did one tasting with Meridian
Yeah.
at Hello It's Me.
Olga Hefner.
Yeah, I've done
And Michelle Brown.
I'm not too sure the lady I worked with, but obviously Diane at Hello It's Me. I
Okay,
worked
yes,
with
yes,
Diane
yes.
there. And then at J Bay Zebra Lodge, just outside PE, I've done 3 tastings there using a combination of Dornier wines out of Cape Town and Edgbaston.
Oh, lovely.
And we had actually had the guy there that was representing Edgbaston, and we did the tasting together. So we actually paired coffee, wine, cheeses.
Okay. Wow.
Oh man, we used apple crumble.
Oh, lovely.
We used figs.
I like a bit of apple crumble myself.
Yeah, so it was really, really good. Most of the tastings we actually do revolve pretty much around ingredients and coffee. So we did a one at Hello It's Me where we used 4 different desserts with 4 different single origin
Jeez,
coffees,
lovely.
and how the actual desserts flavors highlighted the flavors in the coffee, and how the coffee highlighted the flavors in the dessert.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. It's all about taste balance. We try in the coffees at a specific temperature because as the coffees cool, they change. As the wine warms up because it's sitting in the open. Think wine gets hotter, coffee gets cooler.
Yes.
Now all those flavors change, and then bringing those ingredients in. So in some cases, we would take a sip of coffee, have a taste of apple crumble. Take another sip of coffee, it highlights something in the coffee.
Yeah.
Then you sip the wine,
Yeah.
and you've got a dryness in your mouth. But then you take a piece of fig, and you sip the wine, and all of a sudden you've got a savoriness. You sip the coffee, and all of a sudden the coffee tastes like chocolate.
It's amazing how your taste
and
changes.
all those flavors come together, and that's where your palate comes into play. Understanding where sweetness is, where you pick up sweetness. So when I taste coffee and I sip on it and I say to you, it's fruity.
Yeah.
It's you've got to kind of break down what is fruity. Where would you taste fruity on the tongue? It would be sour. It would be acidic. It would be sweet. If it's grapefruit, it would be bitter. So like Mark mentioned, dark chocolate. Dark chocolate is a very, very common attribute of coffee and Brazil specifically.
Yes.
It has, but when you roast generally darker,
Yeah.
you get that darker chocolate cocoa type finish. That you even get that dryness that you get of cocoa.
But that dark roast is obviously called a French roast, isn't it? But then the oils kind of come out to the surface of the bean. You can almost see the shininess of the bean. Is that good or bad? I don't know.
It's well, I wouldn't say it's bad.
Yeah.
If you're roasting, for example, to go that dark,
Yeah.
you're aiming at a specific method of brewing.
Okay.
If you're going to now put a very, very dark bean through a method like this, you're
Yeah.
going to end up just with a very bitter coffee.
Okay.
So going very dark, you want to limit your extraction time.
Yes.
Bring that down, grind it finer, and get more essence, more flavor with a nicer finish. If you allow that to soak too long, all those oils are going to draw out a lot of bitterness. You're going to end up with a lot of over extraction.
Brian Mullins came on the show with his talent for storytelling and his love of history, which I find so interesting. And then when you add comedy to that, it makes for a really fun interview. Brian was the first guy to come on with a full-on theme for his interview, and that was reconciliation, which he held throughout.
You've only got to go back 100 years to see what the Afrikaners went through at the hands of the English.
Yeah.
48,000 women and children dead in concentration camps in 18 months. And yet the Afrikaans people were able to reconcile. And I want to tell you a quick story about the greatest story of reconciliation that I've ever come across. And in that suit, you look like not a rugby player, but a football supporter. So you must know something about Liverpool football.
Liverpool! Because soccer.
What do you know about Liverpool football?
Liverpool, what's it? You will never walk alone. Is that the one?
Their home ground is Anfield.
Anfield, okay, yes.
And what is the main grandstand at Anfield called?
Oh, I don't know that one.
It's called the Kop, after Spion Kop.
Oh, is it? Oh, really?
And the reason why it's called the Kop is that 300 Liverpudlians died on Spion Kop on the 21st of January 1901. And their brothers who survived named the main grandstand at Anfield. And I hope Khusta people are listening to me because they love football. We all love football. I won't bore you with all the military detail of the Battle of Spion Kop.
Yeah.
But on that night, 2,500 British soldiers stormed Spion Kop. On Spion Kop, there were 142 Boer guerrillas. And they were at the back of the mountain in the trench because that's the only place where there's any depth of soil on Spion Kop.
Okay.
And if you read the British accounts of the battle, it's described as hell on earth. Because by the end of the day, Commandant Opperman and his 142 men had killed 2/3 of the British force. And Opperman had lost 40 of his men.
Sure.
And on that mountain that day were 4 men. And given that 2/3 of the Boers died, given that 2/3 of the English died, and 1/3 of the Boers died, out of 4 men, at least 2, if not 3, should have died.
Yeah.
And on that mountain that day, and this is a story about reconciliation, and I'm challenging people to try and reconcile to this degree. Because on that mountain that day were 4 men. The first man was a man called Swart, who became the first Prime Minister of the Union of South Africa. Sorry, Boet, not Smith. Boet became the first Prime Minister of the Union of South Africa. Second man was a man called Denys Reitz, who became the Deputy Prime Minister of South Africa and a famous South African. The third man was an obscure Indian gentleman by the name of Mahatma Gandhi.
Whoa.
And the fourth man was an even more obscure Englishman called Winston Churchill. And it's my humble supposition that if Churchill had died on Spionkop that day, we might be having this conversation in German tonight.
It's in German, yeah.
But the story of reconciliation... yeah. Sig heil. Anyway, the story of reconciliation goes forward because after that comes the First World War.
Yeah.
And the regiment that was slaughtered at Spionkop was the Scottish Fusiliers. Denys Reitz joins the Scottish Fusiliers. And his ex-general, General Smuts, has wind that he's in London. And he gets hold of Churchill and he says, my adjutant and former comrade in arms has joined the Scottish Fusiliers. It just happened that Churchill had been officer commanding Scottish Fusiliers. So he phones the then officer commanding Scottish Fusiliers and says, do you have a soldier called Reitz on your muster? And the officer in charge says, yes, I do. What rank does he have? He's a private. Put him in an officer's car with a chauffeur and send him to the Savoy Hotel. He's coming to dine with Winston Churchill and his general. And to cut a long story short, he goes back as 2IC of Scottish Fusiliers, and serving under him are men and officers that had survived his slaughter at Spionkop. The officer commander dies in France, and Denys Reitz becomes officer commanding the Scottish Fusiliers, the very regiment he had slaughtered on Spionkop. And his men absolutely adored them. He led them through the whole of the war. And if you go to the regimental headquarters of the Scottish Fusiliers in Ayr in Scotland, hanging on the wall is the field order signed by Denys Reitz, ending the First World War for the Scottish Fusiliers, one of the most famous fighting regiments in Great Britain, signed by the guerrilla who once slaughtered the regiment. That is reconciliation.
Yeah.
And we need to learn some lessons from that level of reconciliation in this country. And every South African, regardless of language, culture, color, or creed, we need to unify as abantu basemzansi. Singabantu basemzansi sonke. Masimamele uMandela. uMandela wathi wonke umuntu makabethwe ngoswazi olunye. Everybody must be beaten with the same rod. Yeah. The law applies to everybody in equal measure. So I don't care whether your name is Ace Magashula or Zuma or Malema or Brian Mullins. If you break the law, you need to go to jail. uMandela wathi wonke umuntu makabethwe ngoswazi olunye. Akuhluzwa. We were hluzwa under apartheid. We were divided and measured under apartheid. And we don't need that again.
Okay. The second of three mayors we've had on the show was then sitting mayor Nqaba Bhanga, who has landed himself in a bit of a pickle since then, but we were very honored to have him on the show as well.
What frustrates me right now in the city is the vandalism of municipal assets, like cable theft. It's the pain to me. Because I'll give you an example that in one weekend, Aspen did not have electricity due to cable theft, and now they lost plus minus 50 million rand in 36 hours. And you'll remember that Aspen is the one which is a manufacturer for the vaccine. And business is complaining about our inability to protect this kind of an infrastructure. Most of the community walls have been destroyed. One community wall in Motherwell, which was built 2 years back for 48 million rand, now has been destroyed to the ground because of vandalism. Therefore, that's what keeps me not sleeping. Khusta, I think I saw him in the late 80s, around 89, before he went to, before I think he went to London. And you won't believe that at that age, when I was young, I couldn't believe the kind of eloquence of his speech. And I think the rally that he addressed was in Wilson Stadium. And I said, one day I'll be like that man. And he was a great speaker indeed, and was an inspiration.
Absolutely. Well, Mr. Bhanga, I've actually got a message from him. I've got a message from Khusta for you that he sent in. I'm going to just play it for you now quickly as well.
What you don't know is that our mayor's name, what it means a fort, okay? Meaning that everyone is safe under him. But you must not be excited too much because remember his surname means Bhanga, meaning that bankruptcy. So I don't know, but please ask the mayor to organize me a cup of coffee. It's the only mayor that I haven't had tea with so far, and I'm going to go and camp there at the city hall for days if he doesn't provide me that. So I'll wait and hear from you, Gino. Thank you very much.
What is your guilty pleasure?
What do you mean?
Your guilty pleasure, like something that's bad for you that you enjoy. Woo! Yintonile. What is that? A bit of gin.
I like my tankery.
Oh, tankery. Very nice indeed. Absolutely. I've got some here tonight. This is punters. I think I've got punters here tonight. Lovely. And Fitch and Lee's, of course, my sponsors. So we've always got a gin. We've always got a gin here on the show. So I'm glad you've got cheers to you. You can cheers me on the side, yeah. All right. What makes you nervous?
What makes me very nervous as we speak right now in the country, it's a possibility of a delinquent president like former President Jacob Zuma, who can drive us to a civil war in this country. And it worries me that if we cannot prevail as good men and women and stand up, we can have this individual pushing us to a direction like any other African state to a civil war. And that worries me every day. What gives me hope here in the city is the will of the people and our staff to work hard and deliver. The support that we get from stakeholders and business and everybody else give me hope that there are good people who want us to build this country, who want us to build this city, and that's what inspires me.
This quirky couple of Prince Albert guesthouse owners shared their love of journalism, photography, and Spanish cooking and cultural traditions.
So you might see a little shack in Spain, but then it's decorated with flowers and everything.
Yes. Those little villages are all in the mountains around Salvelio.
You see, it's those little things. Oh, okay, you see these faces on the walls here. Yes. Okay, this is a village. Okay. That there was a guy that was studying fine arts. Yeah. So he decided, he was going to do his masters on his village where he was born. Okay. So he went through the archives and he found all these passport photographs of the people that lived in that village, but had now died or moved on. Wow. And he painted a portrait of each one and put it on the walls of the houses where they lived before.
Amazing.
What? So now you walk through the village and all you see are these portraits on these houses, and these were the people that actually lived there, and that was his masters. He did this like bringing back The
But,
people.
I mean, what about the people that live in there now? Wouldn't
No,
that be
that's
a bit
but
freaky, eh?
no, but that's part of the.
It's part of Spain.
It's part of it. Yeah, no. Look, listen. Death in Spain is not freaky. They
Yeah.
celebrate it on the 1st of November. That's
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
All Saints
Death is
Day.
a big deal in Spain. In
Yeah.
fact, we got married on the Day of the Dead.
Oh, really?
And it's actually a lucky day. Yeah.
It's actually a very lucky
You see,
day.
so
1st of November.
all these
Yes.
portraits of the people that's actually
Dead
lived.
people.
Yeah, well,
Oh,
dead and
man,
alive.
who's gone?
Yeah.
Nearly dead at
Oh,
least.
look, there's
And that's
paella.
by. Oh.
Ah, very
Yeah, we'll have to make you
I
one.
think we'll have to make you
Yeah.
and Philip up.
I tell you
We'll
what,
have to make you one
I
day.
loved it. And I want to get a big paella dish. You get those big paella dishes.
You see, going back to the details on the houses, you see, even if you're poor, it doesn't mean you have to live in filth.
Oh, that's the,
Yes.
that's
Okay,
the bluff
you see
and
what I'm
Salamanca.
getting at?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, and you see all these plastic bags, people, it's like
Yeah.
people don't care.
Yeah.
Whereas in Spain, you get the details. So if you live in a small house, you decorate it. It looks
Yes.
beautiful. It's your
Yes.
palace.
It is.
But you don't live with rubbish around
And
you.
it
you
can
know?
be beautiful.
It can be beautiful. Yeah, you
All
see.
those places can be beautiful.
Yeah, the famous Spanish
Toro.
bull.
bull.
And that's a cathedral of Salamanca at night.
Okay,
In the
okay.
distance there, that's a cathedral. Yeah.
Wow, beautiful.
Yeah.
So this is your hometown, really?
This is the city.
Where you
Our
born?
hometown is 48 k's away.
Oh, I see.
It's very well known for its jamon ibérico and all its products.
Jamon ibérico.
The dry-cured hams.
Dry-cured ham, like a prosciutto.
like prosciutto.
Okay,
Like
so
Parma ham.
yeah,
Okay.
and that's I think that's Louise.
Yes, that's at
with
Julio's house.
with the fans.
So I think I've integrated Louise's.
No, it's a Spanish fan.
Oh, Spanish fan.
Yes.
I thought they were all
Ah, there's a jamon
Spanish
ibérico.
fan.
That's a jamon
That's the
ibérico.
ham.
Okay,
So it hangs for about 2 to 3 years or whatever, you see, and that stuff's amazing.
Yes,
Because those pigs are the small Iberic black pigs,
Okay.
and they eat acorns. So the fat on
It's an
those, you
indigenous
see, that's
pig.
the fat. Okay?
Okay.
It's like the olive oil fat. It's not bad for you. It's good for you. So
Wow, that looks beautiful.
looks
And that's
amazing.
sheep's
And the
milk
cheese as well.
cheese.
Look, I'm sorry for the vegans that are watching. It's nothing we can do, but
There are a few vegans
beautiful,
watching,
no,
actually. Yes,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
Casa
it's-
Milorca.
But that's a little cottage in
That's
the
the
back.
cottage
Yeah.
at the back, yeah. That's the back stoop.
1860. The house is
Built in
from 1860. Yeah.
So then I said, well, we can't go closer to the thing because we don't have
Yeah.
That
we
money.
don't have that money.
Yeah.
This is it. So then she said, but she would think about it. And then I said, oh no, we've lost this house. And then 2 days later, she accepted.
my
So we
word.
were so grateful.
But then she left. She said,
She was
"Can you
amazing.
dispose of some furniture? You know what
Yeah.
European people are like? Throw it
Yeah.
away."
Yeah.
She took a lot of stuff back. She had
it's-
incredible antiques, but she left a lot of stuff. And she said, would you mind disposing of the furniture, or shall I get somebody in to dispose of it? You think we disposed of it? I said, no,
listen.
we'll dispose of the furniture.
bunch of hoarders.
Look at our staircase.
Listen,
It's a
40
staircase.
trips later to PE with
Yeah.
furniture back and
my
forward.
Back and forth.
It's all restored.
we
Yeah.
love
That
it.
staircase,
So,
that's
yeah.
beautiful, eh?
Yeah, it's Victorian staircase. There's a fantastic blacksmith who lives in
Thanks,
Prince
Jeff.
Albert, Kashif Bully, and he actually installed that staircase. I think it was an antique staircase, but he made it fit for that space because the lady whom we bought from, she converted the entire loft. The roof into a
two
loft
rooms.
space.
Okay.
Yeah.
With bathrooms, eh?
Yeah.
We live upstairs.
So our guest house is downstairs, and the entire upper floor is our space. So even
Sure.
if the guest house is full, we still have.
It's going to be quite hectic when you break a hip, you know.
I'm up and down there like a fireman. You just haven't seen me.
That's the place where you sort of gird your loins and stuff.
But listen, these small towns are becoming very popular. People are now wanting to move away from cities and that.
Yeah.
But you know, with a property as well, when you walk into a place, you know, you get a feeling, and you know, this is the one. You know.
Ooh, you must have put that in.
No, that was put by her,
Paul was
by the
there,
owner.
but
Yeah.
we did the
Tiling.
Spanish
I did all the
tiles
tiling and stuff
the
around
top,
it,
just
yeah.
for that little Spanish touch. And you know, people think we couldn't because the guest house is Casa Milorca, and people think, oh, they probably couldn't spell Mallorca or Menorca.
No.
Our cats are Mila and Lorca.
Oh, right.
Casa
So
Milorca.
The powerhouse legal brain, Liezl Greyvenstein, showed us how far goal-driven determination can get you. You grew up in the Tsitsikamma.
That's correct. So yes, I'm the eldest of 4 children.
Wow. Okay.
We were all born and raised in Storms River,
Okay,
a little
she
village.
was
There weren't any other friends really. It was the 4 of us.
Really?
So yes, that
So
was the gang.
I mean, yeah, gee, was that so? That's incredible. So I mean, farming,
Not really farming. There were a lot of farmers. It was dairy farmers in the area. But my father owned shops. My parents owned shops.
Okay.
But not supermarkets, general dealers.
Wow.
You know what that is?
Yeah.
Where you can buy anything from fish hooks to Loslackers to Colgate shampoo.
Soek jy 'n bietjie jam of soek jy 'n gearbox?
That's exactly right. So that's how we grew up. We were very fortunate. My father was quite liberal for a guy in the 70s.
All right. Was he a cool 70s cat?
He wasn't liberal in that way. He had political dreams, I think. Of course, never got there, but he was a big Helen Suzman fan, and I remember that always stuck with me. He never stopped reading. He was an avid reader. He loved music.
What is his name? It's a Van Deventer now,
so he's called Van Deventer. My one brother is
also cool. Yes, he was online.
And incidentally, he loves books and news and
as well.
As well. So I had a wonderful life growing up. Honestly, limited money, unlimited love. My parents, literally, they were those parents who never got involved, but they did everything to support us in their quiet way.
When did you move into town then, or did you go to junior school there?
Junior school there. No Eskom electricity.
What school is there?
Law School Sitsikama.
I say.
With the forestry community. So, a lot of people know a lot of those stories. But that's where, we went to primary school.
Yes.
The bus collected us from our house every morning, dropped us off in the afternoons. Nommer asseblief, telefone. We watched television with bunny aerials op 'n battery. Those crocodile clips. And that was our life. But then from there we went to boarding school. So we were all four of us were sent to Humansdorp. My father was passionate about education. So he just felt that.
Were you a tomboy? Were you living out there?
Well, my three siblings were definitely very rough. They were too rough for me. They once locked me up in a Fenter trailer because I would always tell my parents about the mischief they got up to. So I was the odd one out, I think. The good girl.
So
and the three of them were up, but I was also chased by
blit on them.
But chased by wild boar, bush pigs more times than what I can count on my two hands. So
that's hectic.
Those experiences as a Tsitsikamma child, a boss mice.
Boss mice. Those guys that's hectic. They got gedone, so.
The four siblings are extremely close.
Your brother?
So I'm the eldest, then Cor,
Ilse,
and then Arno. So Cor and Arno are both attorneys.
Okay, all right.
They're also attorneys in Johannesburg. My sister also lives in Joburg.
Yes.
And the four of us are extremely close, and I think it's because, we've been through a lot together. We've been taught to stand together, stick together.
It's all in your family is so important. It is. It's true. You got to try, and so many people have fights with their brothers and sisters. It's true. I mean,
and that's family.
It's family. It's family. But you've got to make right. I think you got to try.
We have a friend who always says the Van Deventer family is like watching Survivor. They have these. What do you call it? They have a pact today, and then it's this little faction against that one, and then tomorrow it's the other way around. But it's a blessing. It really is a blessing.
No, it is.
I see so many young people every year. We receive thousands of CVs every year because obviously the firm has been around for 60 plus years. So people understand that if you can do your articles with Greyvensteins, there's a lot of experience, there's a lot of trust, there's a lot of goodwill. And when we interview these youngsters, it always surprises me. Some of them really know how to do an interview. You can see they've been prepped, they've been coached. And then when they start, it's almost as if the excitement fizzles out, and then they're just there. They're just happy to finish their 2 years of articles. In our day, and I hate sounding like an old person, but in our day, you were competing for that one job because there might have been 4 or 6 article clerks, but there was one person who was going to stay on. And come hell or high water, I wanted to be that person. We once had a very big function at the boardwalk.
Yes.
And I had attended a 21st years before in Durban, one of our very wealthy student mates.
Yeah.
And all the waitresses were naked and they had body paint. You know, they were painted like a giraffe or zebra. Okay. And this made such a big impression that 15 years later, when I could now host this amazing function at the boardwalk, this is exactly what I wanted.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So the waitresses were, I in my mind had something, I don't know what I was thinking, but they were really, really, and what I didn't realize at the time was at this 21st where I was, it was in a tent outside.
Yes.
It was, so it was very dark.
Okay.
Now at the boardwalk, the lights were very bright and you could see too much.
Okay.
And now, of course, when you're hosting a function, you must have respect for everybody, the most liberal of liberal and the most conservative of conservative and everything in between.
Oh, my word.
And I remember that about 5 or 6 of those waitresses, we had to pull them and just say,
okay, hang on.
Sorry,
put on something.
There's just too little left for the imagination. And I was absolutely horrified. Darren Mann was the MC that night. So a lot of things. Of course, the guys were very upset that those very naked ladies.
Okay.
Were pulled.
Oh my
but
word.
That was, I think.
That is a good one.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and that brings to the end the first of our installments of our 3-part Gino Spotlight 2021 overview. Thanks to all the guests who've watched tonight, as well as supported us throughout the whole year. Indeed. Please support our sponsors, of course, Fitch and Leeds and Spar, as well as our internet service provider, Amobia. And of course, thank you to Punters and Keith from Punters and to Fat Cats for our food as well, always. We'll see you on New Year's Day, the 1st of January. That's our next show. So that'll be part 2 of Gino's Spotlight 2021, the overview. See you next time.
Relax, sit down. Coming out of PE town. Drink, find a shot. Never mind your liver. Get to Gino Spot.
Gino Spot.
Get to Gino Spot.
Gino Spot.
Have a laugh, have a giggle, and exercise your middle. Have a Gino shot.
Gino shot.
Get to Gino Spot.
Gino Spot.
Get to Gino Spot.